So good afternoon or almost good evening, everybody. I'm David, as Tim introduced me, and I'm one of the directors of Encorra, and I'll tell you a little bit more about the company very quickly. But it's very interesting. This is our first visit to an SPA event, and these other talks I've been listening to have been really interesting because I'm going to be touching on a lot of the different points that are raised about innovation, about sustainability, and about opportunity, which is where Tim opened the event today. Anyway, I'm here to tell you all about an on-demand, short-run corrugator. And hopefully it'll be quite a surprise for you. Hopefully it'll be quite interesting to most of you. And I don't know how many of you in the room do a lot of short-run box making. Hands up, please. Quite a good number there. Well, I think you'll be particularly interested in what I'm going to be talking about. So off we go. So we're Encorra. We're a very small engineering business based deep in the Herefordshire countryside. And we were set up 7 years ago or so with the sole purpose of developing an environmentally friendly corrugator, hence the name of the business. And the brief was to come up with a machine that, unlike the one you just heard about, which needed a big boiler, we don't need any water to make corrugated board. We use very little energy to make the corrugated board, and you'll hear some other virtues of this machine shortly. Well, 7 hard years of work later, a lot of testing and experimentation and proving of the ideas, culminating in fact in a patent, we now have a small machine that makes corrugated cardboard on demand when you want it, where you want it. You don't have to buy a huge factory in Scunthorpe. There's a place for big factories, and there's a place for very small corrugators. And not only is this a good commercial venture, it has huge environmental benefits because it has some direct carbon savings, uses a lot less energy. It has indirect environmental benefits. It reduces road miles of corrugated board being shipped around the place. It shortens supply chains. It reduces the amount of stock people have to hold. So benefits all round from an environmental point of view. And after 7 years of hard work, as I say, we raised investment last year to put this into production. We've got a great little factory down in Herefordshire now, and production is about to start. On we go. Let me tell you a little bit more about the machine then. Here's a picture of the beast. In action, it uses infrared light in clever ways. The big drum has a vacuum in it. But I'll tell you a little bit more about it in general. The first thing to note is this is a very compact machine. From end to end is just 10 meters, so it would fit into your regular packaging production line. 10 meters, doesn't need a huge factory, okay? And 1.5 meters wide, 2 meters wide. Basically, you put paper in one end, put a little bit of glue into the hopper, switch on the electricity, and out pops corrugated board at the other end. Whatever lengths you want, it chops it off and out come the sheets at the other end. So it can go straight into your die cutter, straight into your box making machine. And what it means is you can make the board you want the morning you want it, the day you want it. You don't have to wait for a lorry to arrive from somewhere else with your board. Now don't get me wrong, this isn't meant to replace DS Smith, it isn't meant to replace coreboard. This is for short run box making, when you want short runs of this and that in order to meet a customer requirement quickly. So it complements the main supplies of corrugated board. It'll make single or double face, various flute sizes, all the ones you'd expect there. And of course, most importantly of all, it makes it cost competitively. You pay for some paper, you pay for some glue, a little bit of electricity. Machine can be operated by one guy. Off you go. It's not expensive to make, and the costs of making board with this machine compare with buying it on the open market. So let me tell you a little bit more about how it works, because it'll help you understand the potential of the machine. The technology, as I've said already, is very innovative. It hasn't been used before. This is not a shrinking down of a standard corrugator. It doesn't use water, it doesn't use steam, and therefore when we do the calculations, we reckon it uses about 70% less electricity, or energy rather, than a conventional corrugator. 70% less, huge amount less. And there are some other benefits from this cold, dry process that I'll come to later. Because it's such a fast process, and you don't have to wet paper and then dry it all over again, it can all be done in 10 meters. Make a very short machine. You don't need 100 meters to make your cardboard this way. And the other benefit of making it so quickly is that you can do a very rapid start-stop. So you can go to the machine, switch it on, run a few thousand feet, and stop it again. The big corrugators, as I'm reliably told, you have to heat up the glue, and then off you go, you run it day and night, and then you stop it, and then you start it again, and these things. This is literally a machine you can have in your sheet plant anywhere in the UK, start it in the morning, run it for a couple of hours, switch it off, and off you go and have your lunch. Now, I just mentioned it uses very little heat and pressure, and this means we can do things that the big corrugating plants aren't able to do. We can make all sorts of specialist boards. Now, how many people here use some coated boards in their production? Waxed, waterproof? Yes, you. Okay. You'll know that if you want coated boards, it has to be coated after the corrugated board is made by the corrugator. And that's because the big corrugators use steam, heat, and pressure to make the board, which would destroy the coating on the paper if the paper was pre-coated. With our machine, you can have pre-coated papers, put it into the machine, and out comes ready coated board, just like that. Examples, here's some we've made. Metallized coating, okay? Pharmaceutical industry. We could have waterproof. We've made some slip-proof board, just using these coated papers. And even better, you can make hybrid boards with metallized on one side, waterproof on the other, if you want multiple different sorts of coatings on the faces. So imagine you're a sheet plant, you've got an order for only 2,000 or 3,000 boxes, and they wanted a metallized box. What are your options? Go out and buy a huge MOQ of board made by somebody else, or just pop a roll of the right sort of paper onto your corrugator, run off that board, you're done. Go and make the boxes. One other advantage of this machine, because of the process we're using, we can use lighter papers than a big corrugator can use. Because we're not soaking the paper in water and steam, we can use much lighter papers, and we've now begun to make some much lighter boards. Now, given all the requirements to make lighter packaging nowadays, stronger packaging, this allows our machine to use less material and to make the sort of lighter boards that people are going to want in the future. So a lot of advantages for this machine. That's on top of it just making the board you want for your everyday business. So here you are. Let me summarize. You're a sheet plant. You've got a very good source of supply at the moment. Why should you bother having a machine like this? Well, it's ideal for short runs on demand because you can start it up, as I've said earlier, run it for an hour or two, you've got the board the day you need it. You don't have to wait a fortnight, you don't have to wait a day for board to be delivered. It allows your business to be much more responsive to short-term demand, changing requirements of a customer out there. Because of the coated paper side, it also provides value-added opportunities for you as a sheet plant to do things you might not have been able to consider doing in the past. And alongside that, you potentially reduce your stock holdings because a few rolls of paper take up an awful lot less space than a lot of pallets sitting in your warehouse full of pre-manufactured board. And as I've said, it reduces the delays in the market there. And then, of course, most importantly of all, the carbon footprint benefits. This is a lower energy way of making corrugated board, and you can go to your customers and demonstrate in the carbon audit that you're saving them carbon. So that's all I have to say. The best way to understand the machine is to come and have a look at it. We're welcoming visitors every week at the moment, so please come and have a demonstration. But if you've got any questions today, I'm here with my colleague Tara for the drinks afterwards, and I'll be happy to answer any questions today. So thank you very much.